Home to Harlem by Claude McKay. This was easily top 5 books I've read, and it's because the author, Claude McKay, I mean, he was so thorough in his characters. Honestly, that's really what got me, is the characters, how he had them down packed. Now, this takes place like right after World War I in New York. And so just like how it is now, New York back then was a melting pot. You know, you had, your African Americans that were born and, raised in America. And then you had a lot of people coming over from the West Indies, Jamaicans. I think Claude McKay himself was Jamaican, and he migrated from Jamaica to New York. But he did such a great job like differentiating the dialect of African Americans versus one of his characters is from Haiti. Some of the women that were in there were from different countries or different islands in the West Indies, and he did a marvelous job with that dialect. I don't know how he did it, how he was able to get into the mind of all of these different people from different places, but he did a hell of a job. He must be a hell of a observer, Mr. McKay was. And this book really, I like it so much also because it really brings you to Harlem. It does. The way he describes the streets. There was even a scene where there was somebody from Harlem and somebody from Brooklyn. The people in Brooklyn were over visiting in Harlem. They're like, I got to go back to Brooklyn. Y'all crazy in Harlem. Y'all don't know how to act. And I kind of could relate to that to nowadays. You know how people are when they go somewhere they're not from. They like to talk about where they're not from, even though it may be the same city, but a different neighborhood or whatever, that rivalry. I seen that in here. I mean, he even brought in like some old, according to this book, some old, I guess, African traditions to where two women, they were fighting. And before they fought, they stripped down naked. And according to here, it was something that, I guess the women were from the West Indies, but that tradition stems from the continent of Africa somewhere. I don't know which country, so excuse me. So he just was really thorough. And I mean, man, you got to check this out. Home to Harlem. The main character in here, he was in World War I. He was over in France, a little bit over in the UK as well. He worked on a ship for the most part as a stoker, which is somebody who kind of messed with the coal of the ship, make sure the coal was burning, things like that for these ships that were like steam powered. Then he comes back to Harlem. He gets a job working for the railroad in the dining car. He goes over those experiences in there, but a good portion of the book is in actual Harlem. And let me tell you, they was cutting up in Harlem back then. They was cutting up. I mean, prostitution, drugs, the snow is what he called it in here. I mean, drinking, oh my goodness. If I had $1 for every time I heard them say gin or whiskey up in here, I mean, they was lit. I mean, people think my generation and this generation is bad when it comes to alcohol and things like that. I don't know. I think they might have it back then, But also, it was fun. These people were also classy as well. I mean, these people wore suits. You know what I'm saying? To the bars and to these different cabarets, and buffet flats is what he called one place, which is, I guess, basically they call it a buffet flat because you can get whatever you want. You want some alcohol? Boom, you go to the buffet flat. You want to get some sex? You can go to the buffet flat. So it was real deep. I loved it. Like I said, this is top 5 books that I've read in my whole life. It was so thorough. It kept me wanting to know what was going to happen next. Man, Claude McKay, hell of an author. There's another book I want to check out by him called, I think it's called Banana Bottom. I'm going to order it and check it out. But I really wanted to get a part 2 of this because the ending of this book, him and the lady, they end up deciding that they're going to go to another city. I'm not going to say the city. I want y'all to read this, but they decide they want to go to another city. I mean, I was looking on Google for another, like a sequel to this. I don't think it is one, but I mean, damn, this was a damn good book. Claude McKay, Home to Harlem.